You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your host, Thomas Ahrens. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Fishing the DMV. I'm your host, Thomas Ahrens, and as always, I'm trying to do at least one episode every week or every other week going to the Chesapeake Bay. We've talked about tarpon. We've talked with the Chesapeake Bay Association. We talked about the Manhattan crisis because that's always fun. So let's talk about something not as much controversial. Let's talk about cobia fishing down in the Virginia portion of the Chesapeake Bay. And I have on these two gentlemen. Met them down during the expo season back in January. Getting jiggy with it, sports fishing. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So, if you want to introduce yourselves and what's your story? How'd this all start?
Kenneth Morgan. Been cobia fishing for a while now. I actually caught my very first cobia when I was real young down in Florida on vacation off a little gulp. And ever since then, I've been completely hooked. At the time, I didn't even know it was a thing up here in Virginia. I came back, I started telling people about, I caught this cobia down in Florida. And it pretty much started there. They started telling me about all the cobia up here, and it just blossomed. And I've been just 100% obsessed ever since.
Joey Gander. I started cobia fishing probably about 5-6 years ago now. And it's funny, Kenneth talks about, telling people about the stories and everything. I used to be a die-hard only freshwater bass. Me and him, we used to go fishing for bass in the kayaks and everything. And he'd always be saying, "Hey man, have you tried cobia?" And I was, would brush him off, be like, "Yeah, that sounds kind of cool and everything." And out there catching, 2-pounders, thinking it's a great day. He took me cobia fishing a couple times in his first boat, and the second time, we may have caught a few other fish, other saltwater species, nothing crazy. And then I remember it was my birthday. We went out and I was like, man, I'm feeling good, feeling special. Ended up catching my first cobia that day, and it was like 56 inches. Talk about a heck of a fight. And ever since that day, been hooked. I'm always asking him, man, hey, when we going? When we going? So it just, I'm like a kid with him. It's like, hey, Dad, when we going out?
What area do you guys live in, just generically speaking?
So I'm on the peninsula. I'm in Williamsburg, Virginia.
And I'm all the way in King and Queen County.
How did you guys meet?
Our daughters danced together at the same dance studio.
Yeah.
Really? That's the story? That's cool.
We were dance dads.
Yeah. So
dance dads.
We were at a competition, and we're both sitting at the table watching our daughters dance and everything at a dance competition, and just pretty much both hating our lives until our daughters get on stage. Because it's long. They're long, grueling days. It's more, it's sit there for 8 hours and tune out all these other kids dancing just to watch your child dance for 4 minutes at a time in 8 hours. So we're just sitting there BSing on our phone, and then we started talking. It's like talking about fishing, and then just click, man. It was like, man, I actually have somebody to talk to.
That's wild. And with the relationship, when did the idea of starting your own company really blossom?
Honestly, when we go out fishing, going out, especially cobia fishing, you're sight casting, looking in the tower and everything. You're going out there for 8-9 hour days in the sun, and especially, being next to each other on the tower, looking for fish. We're just talking about life, talking about our, our families and everything, joking around, laughing, having a good old time. And, it's some of the best time. Even when we're not catching fish, we're just out there enjoying the bay, enjoying the sunshine. And, Kenneth has always had the idea of how he wanted to start his own company with fishing, and especially with fishing lures, because 2 years ago, when we were looking to buy jigs and buy lures, especially during the season, especially this time, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, everyone's sold out. All these companies that are making the jigs, they're fishing. So, when they run out, like it's a huge time period, and most of the time cobia season ends before that. So, we'd be talking how like we can make our own stuff, and we can make it exactly what we want, and we don't have to, pay the premium dollar with it.
What is the cobia season? What length of time is it usually?
June 15th to September 20th this year. Last year was June 15th to September 15th. They change it every single year. But usually, typically, like they start showing up here around May, and we usually fish for them all the way until October, honestly.
Interesting. What is the peak time then? July?
When they first show up, and then September when they're heading out. That's when, well, for us, that's when we see like the big pods. So, I mean, you'll pull up on, 100 cobia together.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's when it's epic. And then you get to see them all like literally trying to kill each other to get to the jig or, the eel or whatever you're throwing. They like try to kill each other to get to a fight for it.
How, like pressure wise, like how big has cobia fishing got in the last 10 years?
Oh, man. It used to be like a few years ago, it used to be like we would fish like during the week, and you would barely see boats like here and there. And then, of course, you go on the weekend, everywhere you look, there's cobia boats, or there's people that, got the ladders strapped to the boat and stuff. But now, at the past like 2 years, even on the weekdays, you would have thought it was a weekend. I mean, hundreds of boats out there all throughout the week. I mean, the pressure is insane. They're definitely getting pressured.
Is that changing the way they act and everything? Like, I mean, how intelligent are they? Or are they just pretty dumb?
I mean, I would say they're pretty dumb, but because I've seen stuff. I've seen videos where people throw, water bottles out there, and they try to eat the water bottle. So
that's wild.
I don't really think the pressure has anything, but I will say this though, like you'll see they move around based on pressure, most definitely. Like for example, one day, there's a CY buoy where the two channels meet together. One day we'll go out there, we'll see, 60 fish throughout the day. And then there'll be hundreds of boats out there as well. The very next day, they won't be there at all. Like they'll be completely moved on somewhere else. And I feel, because it could be that they're chasing bait, but at the same time, we've gone out there like on a Saturday, same thing, hundreds of fish. There's bait everywhere, and then a lot of pressure. The next day, there's still bait in the same area because we go back to where we were catching them, but there's no fish. So I feel that they move around based on the pressure. And also, well, I say they're dumb, but they're really not, because later on in the season, it's like they start to get smart to the sound of the boat. Like when you start to throw down, a lot of fish will start diving down instead of like in the beginning, they'll swim right up to the boat.
Oh, wow. That's wild.
And they will get picky what you're throwing too. There's been a lot of times where we've gone out that, one fish will slurp up an eel, and then, we'll land that fish, and then we'll see 3-4 other keepers throughout the day. And, the keepers will literally turn at the eel or a jig, whatever we're throwing. They'll dive down and we'll be like, oh, we got them and everything. Leave the bail open, let them slurp it up, get ready to set the hook, and then nothing's on them. So, but then you'll see that the smaller ones that we get, they'll go after anything. But it's probably a lot of times because either people aren't casting at them, or people just, give up on them. They're like, oh, hey, I don't want to catch them. Hey, that one's only 30 inches and everything. I don't want to catch them.
How much petrol are you guys burning in a day? If you're constantly looking, when we talk about, this is a famous thing for cobia, is the crow's nest. What is a typical day like?
Man, on the last boat, the last boat, we were running a 2-stroke outboard. Good God. We were probably spending about $200 each time we went out. We had the worst fuel consumption 2-stroke motor they make too, so that didn't make it any better. But now we got a inboard outboard we're running, and we fished 3 days in a row, and we ran off 70 gallons. I probably still got 20 gallons left, so probably 50 gallons in 3 days. Yeah.
Was this the boat, the SS Minnow Johnson? Which boat is the one that has the story to it?
That's the last one. So the one with the two stroke was the one before that.
Okay, gotcha.
The last one, it was such a brief window. It's kind of hard for me to even keep track of it because it was so brief.
If you guys don't know, I'm going to link Instagram in the episode description here. I want to get into this. What happened? Because it was like story 1, everything's great. Story 2 is I shouldn't be alive. Could you go through that day?
All right. Here we go. So, first off, that boat, I bought it as a boat that needed to be restored. It was a work boat at one point when I bought it. I did tremendous work to it. I mean, for about 10 months, I've been working on it. Finally got it right. Got everything situated with insurance and all that stuff. Now, I live in King and Queen County. The boat was here at my house. We fish out of Pocosin, Virginia. So my plan was the boat was huge, like to be trailering and stuff. It was humongous. So I was planning on trailering it to the boat ramp that's closest to me, which is only like 10 miles from my house. I was going to drive it all the way down, all the way to the slip in Pocosin, and then I had somebody waiting on me there. I was going to get picked up to come back in my trailer. So that was my route. So, boom. Get to the boat ramp first thing in the morning. The tower was so big, I had to disconnect the entire tower to trailer it there. So at the boat ramp, I put the tower up. Yeah, got the canopy up. I ran all the controls, ran all the steering, everything set up, good to go. It took about an hour and a half to do all that. I launched it. This is the first day I've launched it since I owned it. I launched it at that boat ramp. I ran around for about 40 minutes close to the boat ramp just in case if something was to go bad, I didn't have to go back or get back to the boat ramp very far. So everything looks good. I had it hooked up to my little scanner on my computer. So I'm watching everything, temperature, everything looks great. I'm thinking that if anything, I might have some type of motor issue because I just put a motor on, but everything ran great. So I told my buddy that helped me out that I was going to meet him at the slip. I took off. It was like a 55-mile track from that boat ramp to the slip. Running down, not a single hiccup the whole entire day. Everything is great. I come all the way down the York River out into the Chesapeake Bay. Start going south to head towards Pocosin because we were in Back River. I was probably about 5 miles from my destination. I just had an idea, like I should probably go down, throttle down the course and everything, go down and check out everything before I get to the slip. So I throttled down, put it in neutral, climbed down, went inside it had like a pilot house. So I go inside, and first thing I noticed was this is kind of eerie to me. This the way this all happened. So first thing I noticed is I had this gray tote, like a Tupperware tote, it's pretty big, and I had a pack of life jackets sticking inside of it. I stuck it in there that morning. It was down inside the cabin, but when I came down, the whole bag was outside of the Tupperware, but the Tupperware was still standing up straight. And I remember thinking to myself, how did that fall out and fall onto the floor? But I just wrote it off like, that's weird. So I grabbed it and I stuck it on the bench that was right behind me. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to drive down here for the rest of the way because I had like 5 miles. So I started cruising. I had about 2,800 RPMs. I was cruising. I called, messaged my buddy and told him that I was about 3 miles away at this point to be ready. Got off, put the phone down. As I was going, that bag that was behind me, I had the doors open it has 2 doors on the pilot house like this. I had both doors open to the back and the hatch was open in the front. So wind is coming in and going out like this. So as I was going, that bag that was like almost 4 feet behind me, it hit me in my back right here, like came forward and hit me. And when it did, it felt a little heavy. And I was like, dang, what? I must have stuck something in that bag before we came out. So as I'm driving, which, I probably should have been paying attention, but I grabbed the bag, I pulled it up, and I'm fiddling with the little zipper to get it open. And I got it open, and I looked inside. There was nothing there but life jackets. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't know how that thing felt so heavy. But anyways, I stuck it back behind me. Man, it wasn't even 2 minutes later. I was going. All of a sudden, the motor, it just revved up real high. like, whoa. And then I turned around and the whole back of the boat was down, was going underwater. So
Shit.
I had just enough time. Yeah, I turned around. I grabbed the first life jacket that was right there. I had a handheld VHF radio sitting right there. I turned the radio on, hit channel 16. I did the Mayday call, and as I did, the boat went over on its
Holy
side. So I
crap.
bailed. Yeah, and this was like less than 10 seconds. I made the Mayday call. I bailed, and when I jumped off, I was in the water. I was holding the life jacket like this because I didn't even have enough time to stick it on or nothing. So I had it like this. I had my phone in my pocket, my wallet, and I had my VHF, and the water wasn't very calm. So I was there. I was treading water, and by the time I finally, I won't say calmed down, but I kind of got my thoughts together. I noticed that the boat, I was only in like 12 feet of water, so the tower of the boat was still sticking out of the water. Well, I tried to swim back to the boat because the current was dragging, and there was no way I could make it. Like I fought for probably about 10, 15 minutes trying to get back, but so I was radioing to the Coast Guard. They keep asking me for my coordinates, and I'm like, dude, I have no idea. Like, I'm in the water.
Come get me.
Yeah, like I'm like, this is where I'm coming from. This is where I'm headed. This is what I can see. Like, I'm in that track. But so then, I guess my radio had went out because they kept calling out to me, and I kept responding, but they couldn't hear me. So I was thinking to myself, shit, I'm about to die out here. And then it sucked too because I saw a couple other boats in the vicinity. I won't say that they were close. They were probably about a mile or two away. But they were just cruising. It's like they didn't even see me. And I was really thinking I was done then. Then all of a sudden, like I was coming up with a wave. So when the wave came up, I saw a boat that was headed in my direction, and I saw there was a guy in the tower. So I said, shit, I hope they see me then. So, I went down a couple waves. I didn't see him. I'm trying to radio. That's not working. They're coming towards me. And then I started to get a little excited because I'm like, they probably see me. Then all of a sudden I go down from a wave. When I come back up, I see his boat is turned around and he's casting. So I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, he probably sees a fish and I'm a goner. So I started just screaming because I thought to myself, well, if he turned on a fish, obviously he throttled down. So he'll probably hear me. So I started screaming. And then all of a sudden I saw somebody on the deck of the boat stand up and start pointing towards where my boat was at. And so then they started coming towards me. They went to the boat first. And then I started screaming. I was able to communicate with them then. They were saying, was there anybody else? And luckily it was just me. So then they came and picked me up. And as soon as they picked me up, fire rescue had got to me maybe 2 minutes later. But yeah, when fire rescue pulled up, they said that I was in the water for 40 minutes. Trading.
Dude, that is terrifying as shit.
Yeah.
It's only 12 feet of water too. That's mind blowing to me. And the current, man, good Lord.
It was
so man. Did you get the boat back?
So I did get the boat back. That night, towboat went out. They got it back upright and they drug it into 4 feet of water to anchor it off so it wouldn't float away. And then the next day they went and they floated it with the airbags, and they called me when they got there and they said there was a hole in the bottom of it big enough that they could swim through it. And then they towed it all the way back to the boat ramp. We stuck it on the trailer and we got it out. I mean, it's like a 6 foot by 6 foot hole.
Damn.
On the bottom.
Dude, that is wild.
So honestly, yeah, I was thinking that maybe I must have struck something, but like I didn't feel any kind of impact or anything. I literally, like, all it did was the motor just revved up real high. And I don't know, the more I think about it, I think the boat must have delaminated because also the hole was like perfectly square, like a sheet of like wood came off. So it didn't look like a hole was punched through it. It was like a whole sheet of wood came off of the bottom of it. I mean, fiberglass.
Mm-hmm. Dude, that is wild. I mean, that goes to show double check everything and make sure you have your life preservers up to date. Because I had a scary incident with that earlier this year where my it didn't inflate on me, and I almost knocked myself unconscious slipping on a rock. And I realized, like, oh wow, if I actually went unconscious, this life preserver did not inflate, I would have been effed. So it's so crazy how that can quickly happen on you real quick.
I say I definitely learned a lot. Like for one, the handheld VHF is an absolute lifesaver because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have even had time to make the Mayday call on the other VHF. I wasn't even close to it. And then another thing, I'm super guilty of this. Not so much anymore, but beforehand, I'm super guilty of being out there and not listening to channel 16 like we're taught, like we're supposed to be listening. For channel 16 for a vessel in distress, and if you're in the vicinity, it's like a code of honor, like you go help. But I mean, I saw boats out there that obviously weren't listening to channel 16. Like I said, I'm super guilty of it, but now I know what it's like to be
Yeah.
sitting out there and not knowing what's going to happen and seeing boats that could possibly come help you, but they have no idea what's going on. So, I mean, we don't do that anymore. Channel 16 is always on.
That's got to be the most depressing feeling, to be floating there, seeing help, but knowing you can't get in touch with them. Getting to things that aren't as
It's
depressing.
pretty traumatic. Yeah.
Cobia tournaments. Something that you guys brought to my attention a couple weeks ago was that there's a big Cobia tournament. And in general, before we touch into that tournament itself, are tournaments a thing? Is this just a one-off that happens every year, or are there multiple events that occur?
It seems like there's a tournament, especially every year, that comes up every weekend, and I'm sure every person that goes out for Cobia can attest with that. I mean, it seems like tournaments are, multiple, and it's not just one tournament every weekend. It seems like this past weekend, there was the big man going on and the shop with a cop. I mean, there's two different tournaments going on at the same time. But I mean, yeah, these tournaments, like there was a time that me and Kenneth went out last year, and it was a Friday, and we noticed there was a ton of people at the ramp. I'm like, man, there's for a weekday, no holiday weekends or anything going on. I'm like, wow, there's a bunch of people out here, and just being friendly with a lot of other guys. They were like, hey, what's going on today? And then they asked if we were fishing the tournament. I said, me and him looked at each other. It was like, there's a tournament. And I was like, oh, well, crap. I mean, there's just going to be more pressure on the fish, but yeah, no, tournaments, it's like no different, with the explosion of sight casting cobia and just cobia fishing in general getting so popular over the years. I mean, tournaments are going crazy, and and all of the tournaments for the most part, especially the ones that me and Kenneth support, are for great causes. A lot of them are for there's the Pocosin ones for the football teams and the sports teams, and a lot of stuff that gives back to the children and everything. So they're very great. Like the shop the cop with the cop one was a big charity event for children and everything. So they're great values and everything. And the sponsorship and the staff that puts them together, at least I can speak from all the ones that we've done, top tier and fantastic.
And getting back into it, I think we talked about this before we recorded. How do these tournaments work? I mean, are they catchway release? Is it your best 2 or 3? Is it more like a billfish or a sailfish tournament? How does it work?
But the regulations for Cobia is 1 per person or 2 per boat. And the tournaments, they'll either do the heaviest fish or the heaviest combined of the 2. So
Okay,
it's always like you're weighing it in. They're going off the weight.
I guess you can't cull then, right? Like, I guess in a tournament where you're actually keeping, correct? So how does that work with strategy?
Yeah.
So a lot of times with the in the tournaments and everything, they'll have strict guidelines when lines have to be in. You can't chum the water or bait fish before 6 o'clock. A lot of the ones your tournament starts at 6 o'clock, and then they give you a slot to when weigh-ins begin. This past tournament, the lines were in the water at 6 a.m. and you had to be in line with your weighable fish by 5 p.m. So usually in the morning, what we do is, you get out there, you find a spot. We try to go out the day before, which we did, and get some scouting in. Hey, where are we seeing the fish? Where are we seeing the bait? Where the water temperature? We're taking all these factors in, and trying to figure out, hey, where are we going to start out the day? Then we pick a spot, and right when the tournament begins, we start putting chum in the water. So, bait fish and a lot of other species can come up, but, obviously trying to attract the cobia. And then we'll get rods out where, we're working the top water column and the bottom, see what we can get. And then while we're doing that, we're also bait fishing to see if we can get some croaker, we can get some spot, we can get some things, just in case if the cobia are being picky, they don't want eels, they don't want jigs, they don't want lures. Maybe we can get a live spot, a live croaker, something else, something different to throw at them. And in the past, we have used like peelers, blue crabs, but you try to start and be strategical with it. And as the day goes on, when the sun starts rising around 9 or 10 o'clock, or if we start to see them, depending on what the water looks like, that's when we'll start sight casting and trying to look around for them.
Are you sticking them in practice to get a gauge for how big they are, or because they're on the surface, do you just kind of just eyeball it to know, like, okay, this is a good school that I want to try to get back on during the tournament?
Are you saying that if we see them like the day before, like if we went out Friday and the tournament Saturday,
if you're practicing, how do you gauge, like, this is a good school? Do you stick a couple to make sure they're the right size that you're looking for? Because like in a bass tournament, some people will stick fish before to check them out to be like, okay, yeah, these are 4-pounders. This is the class I want.
Sure. Yeah. Well, if you're saying, so how the tournament works when it comes to, for example, so to make sure people are actually catching the fish the day that the tournament is going on, and not, let's say, catching a fish somehow, I don't know, chaining it up to a buoy and then using that weighable fish for another day. They either give you a code word.
Okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. They give you a code word and you have to record yourself for 15 seconds. The shop with the cop one I thought was kind of cool. I have it right here with me. They gave us a playing card. They gave every boat a playing card, and here's the back of it. Might be a little distorted because it's flipped, but they gave us a playing card, and you had to take a 15-second video with a waveable fish on the deck and then show your card. I thought it was kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
And then actually we did a tournament where we were a vendor in Pocosin, and the tournament actually had the code word as Gettin Jiggy with it because we were the first vendor to show up. So a little bit of recognition right there. That was pretty cool. But back to your question, though, when it comes to when we're doing our scouting the day before, and if we do see big schools of fish, or if we see 5 cobia or 5 like a pod or a wolf pack of 5 cobia, we'll keep it in mind. What we're really looking for is, we're looking for these areas, whether it be, the CY is always packed nowadays. 2 years ago it wasn't as bad, but it's packed to the gills with boats nowadays. But if we're going around, Bluefish Rock or these areas, and we're seeing a lot of bait, a lot of rays, and a lot of fish that just aren't clumped together, but they're like, we'll see one right here, we'll see two pairs swimming right there, we'll see another single fish, but like they're all in like a good area that's not too huge. That's a key spot where we'll be like, okay, we might chum that area tomorrow because there's a lot of foot traffic around there. But that's the thing too. That's the thing that happens though all the time. What Kenneth was kind of pointing with how the fish move around. 1 week they're all going to be hanging around the third island on the ocean side. I mean, everyone's catching them, and then you go 2 days later and they're completely gone, besides maybe one fish that somebody catches in one day, and they're all down by Buckrow. They move.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Can you see a difference between a 30-incher and a 40-incher, let's say? Is that something that you've gotten good at? Because to me, if I saw a fish like that in the water, they'd seem the same to me. I don't think I could tell them apart.
Oh yeah,
You
Yeah,
can
we
definitely
definitely
tell the
got the eye for
difference.
that now. We also look at how we definitely look at how wide they are.
Yeah,
Ah.
That's
you
one
can
thing I'm
see in
always
the
looking at. Big off
you can
that
see in the
head.
head. Yep.
Hmm. That's wild, man. So getting like to the tournament, and then I want to talk about your jigs and everything. Like how the tournament go for you guys?
I could win better.
Like you sunk
I mean,
another boat, or what
we
happened?
got no, it definitely wasn't that bad. But I mean, we got a couple smaller fish throughout the day, and we really didn't even see any like really big ones until it was like 4:40 p.m. We had to be in line by 5, so it's pretty much a long day of riding around.
Mm. What ended up winning?
It was a 65-pound or 64-pound cobia.
God damn, that is a big cobia. Holy
Ginormous.
Christ.
I haven't
Good
even
God.
seen one that big this year.
Is this the place you could catch the biggest cobias around here? Or is there another place in the East Coast that's better?
I mean, they're migrating. I believe there's 2 migrations, but like I have a lot of people who actually buy my jigs down in Florida,
Hmm.
and just going off of like what like their reactions and responses to pictures that we post of Kobe up here, I don't think they see them as big as what we see them. Because
Interesting.
like we posted pictures of like a 45-inch or 47-inch, and I mean their reaction to it is like it's a monster, and we're like, dang, it's barely a keeper.
Yeah. Yeah, and to piggyback on that, I have family that's down on the Gulf side of Florida, and I try to set up a charter going down there, just to, do some fishing down there and get other species. And I remember talking with one of the captains down there, and I was saying, I was like, oh yeah, I love doing cobia fishing, I love it, and he kind of I don't want to say brushed it off, but it just doesn't seem like cobia is more of like a big commodity like it is around here. He was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I guess we could do that," and I was like, "Okay, like I'd be fine if we only did that."
Mm-hmm.
So
That's wild.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I guess down there's culturally like you have so many other species that you can target compared to up here. I can hear my voice here. Jigs. How did you specifically target jigs as I mean, it's in your title for your company compared to eels and the other things. Like, how did you guys kind of focus on like that's something you wanted to start with?
I mean, just like Joe was saying, I mean, it was real hard for us to find them in the stores, and I mean, from a business perspective, it kind of just started with that. Like, I was like, man, the demand is ridiculous, and I mean, I would just look at the jigs that we were using, and I just thought to myself, I think I could probably do this 10 times better than what we're seeing out here. And then I started just making them for us, and people started seeing them when they were fishing with us and at the boat ramp. And then like they kept telling me like, man, you should put them on Instagram or Facebook. And at that time, I didn't even have social media at all. So I was like, you know what, maybe I'll try it. So I started the Instagram, and I mean skyrocketed. And I had like shops hitting me up, and it's just been nonstop.
I mean, they're they're freaking beautiful. And for people that don't know anything about cobia jigs and stuff, is there a certain reason behind the shape of the jig head or anything like that, or is that more of an artistic choice?
Yeah, there's definitely a difference. So the ones like that you're showing right there are the octopus head, and I will get you one right here just to show you. So it has this like really, round part of the head. So basically, when you're jigging this one, once it's free fall, it's going to free fall straight down like this, and you're going to jig it straight up. It's going to free fall like that. So it has a really nice up and down action. And then I make some other ones that I haven't got on my website just yet because I've been having a hard time keeping up with my shops. but I do these now. These are squid heads.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know if you can see that. But these have more of like a swimming action. So like these, we'll throw these and swim it right by the cobia's face.
Hmm.
And it doesn't really do a whole bunch of jigging up and down. So yeah, there's definitely a difference.
What kind of gear are you pairing this with? Because I'm looking on your website now. You're talking 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces. Is this like with the heaviest stuff imaginable?
I'm using a 30-pound braid, and I got a 30-pound shock leader on it.
Wow. Okay, that's not too bad. That's very castable. It's not gonna like really wear you out like
Oh
I
yeah.
thought it would. How many
And
how many
I actually
oh, go ahead.
all my rods and reels are pretty lightweight as well. Like the biggest reel I have is a 5,000, but I honestly prefer like a 4,000.
I mean, people, if you're listening, so it really doesn't take too heavy of tackle to make the conversion to go out there and fish for cobia. I mean, these things are beautifully hand tied. Like, how long do you think they last? Like, how many fish do you think you can catch off of one?
I have a lot of people sending me jigs back that have gotten over 6 fish on them. And my whole plan is that when we go back to the expo, I'm gonna have them all displayed and to show, because that's a question I always get about the durability. And I mean, a couple factors that I try to put in there is like, for one, I have 3 coats of a UV clear resin on them to try to protect the paint. And that makes it last a lot longer as well. And also, I load my jigs up with feathers, because that's one of the main things that you'll lose per fish. So like I used to buy jigs where it would only have 9 or 10 feathers, and then I mean I don't know if you can. I mean now I'm probably put 30 to 35 feathers per jig.
Damn, dude, that's nuts! Holy crap! What is your favorite?
That's the whole name of the game. That we're trying to make it to where it lasts a lot longer.
Yeah, and that's the problem when you're tying basically flies. It's like it's the name of the game that they're gonna wear out when you're having a good time on the water. With these patterns that you tie, what's your favorite pattern that you've tied, and what's your best seller?
The best seller would be the white. I try to mimic it. It's like I mimic a croaker. It's white, and I use pheasant feathers on the side. And it'll give it like a striped color going down the side. That's been my best seller. My absolute favorite one is gotta hang it up. This one has been used as well.
Whew. That is
the electric
bright.
chicken.
Huh. So they're not color shy.
I have it on display in my jiggers. Oh no. Like I typically prefer like the real bright colors.
Now, do you ever pair those up with live bait or a trailer, or you just fish them just like in bass fishing we use like a bucktail jig and just use the jig itself?
No, just use the jig itself. They also have rattles on them as well.
Oh, that's wild.
But yeah, no trailer needed.
That is so cool, dude.
The feathers act as a trailer.
What is your guys' thoughts? I mean, what has it been? 4 years, 5 years you've been doing this, correct? Or is it shorter?
Jig wise, a lot
The jigs?
shorter.
Yeah.
Where do you guys see this
Be
going
a
from
year
here?
in September.
Where do you see it going from here? Like a year and some change is not long, and you guys have blown up. Like, has the success sank in yet? And do you plan on expanding? Like, I mean, what are your thoughts with this as it keeps growing?
Most definitely. I mean, we're working on the charters. We're gonna hopefully launch charters next year. We were planning on doing it this year, but somebody sunk a boat. Um, and we got a new boat though. We do have a new boat.
Competition's
So let
hard,
me throw that
man.
out there. But yeah, we had to throw it. We do have a new boat. But I mean, yeah, we're definitely venturing out to other things as well. Like we've been making tuna lures and sea witches for bluefin tuna, yellowfin tuna. I got a lot of that in the works. We cannot wait to have those in action this fall, winter. I mean, we do all types of other stuff. We got sheep's head jigs going on. We actually been making these smaller jigs and sending them down to Florida for people to catch snakehead with.
Interesting. Those jig heads might work for our snakehead up this way too. If with the northern snakehead, which is huge up in my area. The tuna deal is that I guess yeah, you guys are kind of close to the Carolina, so I guess that would make sense where that bite gets really hot. When does that market really start opening up? You said in the fall?
Yeah, around November. But actually, for the past 5 years, bluefin tuna have been coming closer and closer to shore.
That's wild.
And this past year, they were getting them within a mile from the beach.
Holy shit. That's crazy.
Yeah,
man.
so they're. Yeah, I mean, I've been working. I got some of those out here too, with the same little crazy design, crazy paint.
I wonder why pink doesn't work in freshwater as much. I see a lot of pink in saltwater lures, and it never made the transition, honestly, for freshwater species, which is weird.
Mm-hmm. You don't see a lot of all pink crankbaits.
No, you don't, which is weird because I've seen I think I saw like a pink eel before we did this. I think it was for barracuda or whatever, but seeing that thing rip through the water in that pink, it makes sense. Like you can see the aura of it going through the water. It really casts a really good profile. And I mean, I get saltwater fish, I think, are a little bit more sight feeders than some freshwater species, depending on the clarity. Yeah, that's wild to me. Well, where do you guys see cobia fishing in a couple of years? Do you think there's going to be more restrictions on it as it gets more pressure? Do you think it's always going to be available to be caught? Like, if you had a crystal ball, what do you think?
I would say so they just changed the regulations this past year. This season was the first of how it used to be in years past. It's always been or I don't know if it's always been, but years past, it's been one per person, two per boat. And like, for example, last year you could keep one that was over 50 inches. So like a good day, if you were going to keep two last year, we would always see if you could catch like your slot first, your 40-inch to 49-inch fish. Then after that, if you catch a second fish, as long as it's over 40 inches, it's good. You can keep it. But which happened to us a lot, if we started off by catching like a 52-inch fish, then your next fish to keep it, you'd have to be 40 to 49 inches. So, but this year they changed it. They rose it up the limit size to 43 inches, but then you could keep two over 50. The problem is with that is you're keeping two potential breeders and those big females. And, if you're doing that, it's going to crash the numbers. You already have, a lot of boats out there, a lot of big fishing boats out there that are already hurting a lot of species. But then you add on top of that, and I will say there are a lot of good captains that, hey, we're just going to keep one fish, and we're going to, they tell their clientele, they tell their customers like, hey, this is how we do it because we want cobia fishing to stay like this. We want you to come back. So that's why we're only keeping one fish. But not everyone's like that. And I mean, it's not it's not against me to tell you how to fish. I mean, as long as you're staying within the regulations, that's what the regulation is. But it's gonna have to. I mean, I'm not sure 100% if it's because of the warm current this year, or if it was an off year, or if that regulation, because you could keep two over 50 inches, killing two breeders in one day, if that's what really hurt the season. Because you could ask pretty much anybody. You can see it. If you follow a bunch of charter captains throughout the Chesapeake Bay, Virginia Beach, wherever, they're just not posting the cobias every day. I mean, there's some good ones out there that there's some guys out there that are really good, but it's not like years past.
Is catch, photo, measure, release, will that become a thing for cobia fishing, or more accepted, if at all?
Yeah, you can do it. You can get a catch and release citation now for that. That's mainly what we go for catch and release citation. Like a harvest citation has got to be a lot bigger, but I think catch and release has to be bigger than, was it 55 inches?
I think so.
Or was that the drum? I may be mixing them up, but it's something like that. It's like over 55. You can take a picture of it and have a witness, and you'll get a catch and release citation for it.
I've talked to so many biologists this year. I forget which one. If you know who you are, if you're listening to this, about the difference between catch and take and catch and release. Cause it's like, if you do catch and take, you have an issue with hurting the population. Like, you're removing a lot of breeders. But then if you do catch and release, his thing is like, but you're also just making every fish in the population hyper intelligent. And so you'll just have a lot of intelligent fish. And I think that's kind of interesting. Like, what is the happy medium? Because if you did make it like a sports fish, let's say like a tarpon or whatever, awesome, you'll have more of them, but every one of them has probably been stuck about 7 times in their life. And so that would still have the problem of making fishing tougher. So it seems like regardless, fishing is just going to get harder, and they're going to get more pressured, either avenue you take. So yeah, I don't envy you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I really believe in not just human life, or just in the animal kingdom. Complacency kills. Eventually, even if if you have the theory of that, the fish gets hyper intelligent, starts getting a little bit more pickier with stuff. Eventually he's going to see that big female is going to see an eel. That world record cobia that was caught within the last year in Australia and everything. I'm sure she was pretty smart. She's been there, to get that big, but eventually, you fall for something. You'll fall for a trick eventually.
Yeah, I agree. I think fish do have some kind of sort of intelligence. I mean, you look at the forward-facing sonar bullshit that's going on in bass fishing, and this stupid, retarded little green fish is figuring out that this, $100,000 bass boat that sits on top of him, he's throwing lures and they swim away. And I can't imagine the same thing with cobia. Like, I don't know if that's a survival instinct or whatever, but the way they can so quickly learn, like, oh, that pink jig I saw before, or that eel, I'm going to shy away from that. It is kind of weird how quickly they can. And I wonder if they can even like gauge towers and shadows, like if that even can start spooking them too, which is wild to think that stupid little fish has that kind of, I don't know, sentience to do that. But here we are.
Like Kenneth mentioned before, 100%. They must adapt with sound and can tell when motors start idling down, because it seems like, especially when it gets late in the season around this time, and we saw it a bunch last year. We would idle down, and it would be at a decent casting range, not on top of the fish, and the fish would almost spook before, like, as the eel or the jig or whatever lure that we were throwing was going through the air. Like, it was like, where'd it go? It just
that's wild,
slowly sunk down and just went away.
That's stupid. That's so wild that they're that smart, man. Oh, good Lord. I mean, guys, this has been a fun conversation. I really appreciate you coming on today. Is there anything coming up in late August and September that you'd like to promote? Any tournaments or anything else like that you're backing or promoting?
No, we fished our last tournament. We will be at the Richmond Fishing Expo and also the Carolina Fishing Expo this year. And we will have a tremendous arsenal of the best cobia jigs on the market to showcase.
And as always, guys, I'll be down there too. at Richmond, and I think Raleigh this year. I got to check with my team to see which ones we're doing. I know Richmond's a definite that we're going to be doing. And then, yeah, as always, guys, link in the episode description to everything we talked about. I'm going to link website, Instagram, Facebook, all that shebang. Go check them out. And then when they get their charters up and running, I'll also link that as well to promote that. And yeah, we will see you guys next time on Fishing the DMV. Bye. You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your host, Thomas Ahrens. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.